Okay, students, so today you're going to be making a foldable on demographic transition. They love this on the AP test, so I know it's a lot of paper, but this covers a lot of information that you'll see over and over and over time again. And anyways, this is what you're going to be making today. So in order to make this foldable, you need 3 blank pieces of paper, and then you need these 2 papers right here that have these little figures on them. All right, so you're going to take the 3 blank papers that you have, and you are going to that's one of my children. Anyways, and you're going to take one of them, and you want to be able to write right here so you can see you're layering it on top. So that'd be so anyways, you're layering it right here on top. Okay, so you have the bottom paper, and then you have this paper, and then you're going to take this one and you're going to lay it right here too. So now I have 3 flaps. So if you count them, you'll see I have 3. 1, 2, 3. Then you hold this, okay, if you remember, and you're going to grab this paper, okay, all of them together, and you're going to bring it around. So you got it like this. So you should have a total of, how many flaps now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so make sure you have 6. And so I'm going to go ahead and fold it. I'm going to flip it. This way is more comfortable for me. Anyways, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, then you're going to, staple it in the middle. Staple it on the side, staple it on the other side. Okay, and then you're gonna write on the cover, you're gonna write demographic transition. You can even put model, because a lot of times those call this DTM. And then on the next part, you're gonna write description. I can't talk today. Transcription. Oops. A description. Sebby's throwing me off, my little one. Then you're going to have visual image for this one. And then on this flap, it's going to say Stop, buddy. On this flap, it's going to say statistical indicators. And then population pyramids. And then you're going to have your graph. Okay? So that should be a total of 6. Because you have the cover we're counting 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so go ahead and write those real quick. And then I'll show you how to cut it. Okay? So you're going to make this right now. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take your other paper. And you are going to cut out, oops, not this one. You're going to use this one, and we're going to cut out the graph, because you want to start with the graph first. So go ahead and just cut out the graph. And these lines are very, very important because this line right here, this line, and this line are the ones that we really need to pay attention to. So not this line. So make sure you're paying attention. So I'm going to glue this down on my graph section where it says graph. So I'm going to lift all this up. I'm going to bend it. All right. Ugh, I got to bend it. Okay. All right, got it bent. Let's go ahead and graph this down. Glue it down right about here. It looks good. I'm going to get the glue. Okay, so we're going to glue this thing down. That looks about good. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention to this line. Remember, not this line, this line. So this line is where I need to cut. And I would not cut the first page to start with. But anyway, so we need this line is the one we need to cut. So there's several ways you can do it. I kind of like to do it like this so I can kind of see if I pull down. I don't know if you can see, but if you push down, you can see where the line is right there. And so I like to draw just a little picture. I mean, not a picture, but redraw this line right here. So again, ignore this line, okay? You're doing this one right here. All right, so again, it's this line right here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to sketch it. You might wanna use a ruler just to know that that's about where I'm gonna cut all the way down. And then I do the same thing. I need to do this one and this one. Okay, so I'll do the same thing. So I'm gonna kind of look real careful and bring it all the way down. Same thing, and bring it all the way down. So that's where I'm gonna be cutting, but do not cut the bottom page. Do not cut the part right here. Okay, do not cut this last page. So I'm gonna cut it up. I can even kind of move this over a little bit if I want. Anyway, so now that's where I cut it. And on here, I can now do the population pyramids, which is this one. So I'm gonna cut these out, and this one will go here, this one will go here, this one will go on here, and then this one will go on here. So let's do that. I'm just looking back at my previous one. It's like I like to leave a little room on the pyramid right here. You can see I like to leave a room at the top so I can write like the title, but I want to be able to include notes down below why the population pyramids are telling me if the population is growing or shrinking, because you want to look back at your age structure diagram notes and you want to be able to use that information to help you interpret what's happening in these populations right here. So anyway, so lots of space. So that's why I'm going to probably move these up just a little bit higher, okay? And then I'll glue them down. Okay, so now that you have those, if you remember on an age structure diagram, that on the left-hand side usually is where they put males. So you're going to put male over here, male, and so forth. And then choose something you're going to color that with. And on the other side, if you remember, that is the female side, usually, from the age structure diagrams. And so when I colored mine, I did like a blue color, and then I did a pink color for the girl side. And anyways, they love these age structure diagrams on the test. So you want to feel very comfortable with them. So anyway, so you can see on mine right here that I colored them, like I said, for the boy, the blue, and then the girl, I did pink. And then I entered information about what's happening here. And I can kind of show you a little idea on how to do that too. But anyway, so then you open up the next layer, and now this is the statistical indicators. So you're going to use the one right here where it talks about the birth, the death, the life expectancy, this one right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out, and then I'm gonna glue this on here. But first, I need to make sure that I stay with those cuts from beforehand. So I'm going to, you can either hold it like this and cut through it. If you want like that, that's what I do sometimes, is I kind of direct it from where I cut it last time, okay? But do not cut that last page, remember? So anyway, so I'm just holding this part right here, and I'm cutting it in the same spot. And then I'll cut the last one too, this little guy right here. And I do about the same too. I don't know if it'll help you. Oops, I kind of ripped that part off a little bit. It might help you maybe to turn it around and cut it like this. I don't know, you figure out what works best for you. You just want to stay relatively the same right there. So that looks fine. Doesn't have to be like perfect. Okay, so now I'm gonna glue these on here. And I might even have to cut them a tiny bit, but I'm gonna move them down just like I did beforehand. Because if you look at this one right here, okay, I wanted to again write the stages. And so I moved it down a little bit, and then I have information that I wrote underneath it as well. So let's do that. So now you see I've cut them out, and so I'm gonna head and glue these guys down. And I left room for the title too as well. I'm going to write the title up here like I did before. And then I wrote the title like you can see. And what's nice about this, I know it's a lot of writing, but you get used to what all these different stages are because you write it so much. Then I'm going to go to the next one right here, and now we're on visual image. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to put these on here as well. But I'm just going to do the same thing. So I'm going to first cut it. So I'm going to look at my last paper right here, and I'll cut it up to about, again, using that last one as a reference for my for how to cut it. And then this one right here, this is the only one that's a little harder because it's kind of small right there. So I kind of just a little bit try to be a little bit more on that one. Yeah, that opens fine because you just want to be able to open it and read it. And so anyway, so now we've got that done, and I'll take these and I'll glue them on here. Okay, so on this one, when you do glue this one on, you can go all the way up because these are pretty big and you want to make sure you're not going on here. So on these, I will glue all the way up. Okay, as you can see, I glued them all the way up. You might even have to cut a little top off just because there was still a little extra white space. But now I'm going to go ahead and write the stages of these again. Okay, so we have that one done, and then now we're going to do description. And for the description, you're going to cut out these ones right here. Okay, and so I'm going to cut these, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do for this. Oh, but let's real quick go ahead and cut our things again right here. So I'm going to pick up the bottom part, right, because we want to align it with this one. Cut that again. Oops. Pick up this one. Cut that. Pick up this one. And cut this one. That looks good. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and cut this out, and then I'll show you how to put this one on. On this one, I do not need to write the title up here because it says in here what this one is called, what these are called. So I want to put it here because this one, if you remember, is the pre-industrial society. But this extends down, so you want to make sure that you actually fold it right here so it doesn't get in the way of this. So if you can see, I folded it, okay? And I'm just going to glue the back of this part right here onto here because I want to be able to open this and read it, but then I can fold it back when I cover this, okay? So again, I'm going to glue the back of this right now. So again, now I can open it and I can read it and I can put it back. So we did pre-industrial. Now we need to do the developing, which is also known as the transitional. Okay, so I'm going to put this one right here. This one I don't have to, what's the word, fold this one because this one's fine. But I am going to stick it all the way up to the top right here. Okay, so I can read that one. I have even a little space in case I want to add some stuff. And then on this one right here, okay, I'm going to stick it again up here, but I need to be able to fold this one. So just however you want to fold it. I folded it like right here. And then I think I even folded it again like this. Whatever you want, just so you can open it later on. So I'm only going to put glue right here. And if you got a little glue, you want to make sure that you don't put the top on it and it gets stuck. So anyway, so now I can open it, I can read it, and then I can fold it back. And then my last one I'll glue right here. And I don't have to fold this one. Okay, so then this one right here is the post-industrial. All right, so now we have them all right there. And then before I cut the top part, you can cut it if you want. I like to cut it, but you don't have to cut the top if you want. You can see right here, I cut the top. The only thing that sucks about when you do cut the top, I like it because you can open it and you can read about just this stage all the way down. So then I can read about it, and then I can flip it. I can see a picture, a visual. I can see the stats, the statistical indicators of it. I can see the population pyramid, and then I look at the graph. But the downside to this is I have you guys write what demographic transition is, and this part's kind of hard to read like this when it's cut like that, but you decide what works for you. So I'm going to go ahead and write this on here so you guys know what to write on top. And then if you decide to cut it after you write this part, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and write what you need to write here. Okay, so you're writing the demographic transition model. That's what this entire thing is going to be called. And history has shown that the birth and death rate, let's put underlined rate, of a country change in particular ways as the country develops and as it becomes industrialized and more economically developed. These changes are called the demographic transition, and there are 4 stages, okay? So now you can make that call if you want to go ahead and cut this the same way, the top part right here, okay? You can if you want. And if you don't want to, I'm fine with you guys leaving it like this too, okay? But this is nice, so you can open it and you see a visual. Okay, and I want to show you with my other one what you're going to be doing. So you'll read about each stage. Let me put these other ones down. Okay. So you'll read about each stage. So you start with the first stage, and as you're reading about it, you want to highlight things that it tells you about that are important that you'll be using later. Like you need to highlight birth and death rates, since that's what this is about. Also, the child mortality rates, that's important, life expectancy. So I could actually go back and highlight these, because when you get down to later on, the statistical indicators, you need to write in what you read about those. And anyways, you can see the birth rate, the death rate, all of that you need to talk about. Life expectancy, you might have to look that up online to find that out, okay? And so you can see right here that the population is growing, but it's very low. But it's stable, but it's very low. And then yours might look a little slightly different because I think I added infant mortality rate onto your guys's because I wanted to make sure you guys talk about it. So you'll read about, again, what each stage is like. You'll see a visual picture. Make sure you color it, okay? And then you'll write again about the statistical indicators of it. And then you can see right here, you'll talk about what the population pyramid looks like. Now, to get this information, I just use my notes from the age structure diagram. And if you don't have that, you can look at the PowerPoint that I know you guys turned in your packet, but you can look in the PowerPoint to write this information. I linked that on our agenda. And then you'll see right here that you're going to color in the last part right here. This last page right here, you're going to color this in. You write what each stage is called, and you'll show what the birth and death rates are doing. And you'll write in if the population is low, but see right here, it's still growing, it's low. Starts to increase here, it really starts to take off. That's that purple line, the population. And then you can see right here, it's still growing, it's low, but it's still growing. It's not shooting up anymore as much as it was. And then you can see it kind of starts to level out here, become stable, so not very much population growth. And then towards the end, it starts to go negative right here. So the population's actually slowly declining over here. And you'll label all this, and to find this information in your book, let me show you. Oh, and this part's supposed to say key right here, because this is our key. Okay, and to find all this information, you're going to use your book. Let me see what page. Okay, so your book has this information right here, and this is on page 135. If you don't have a book yet, you can take a book out of my classroom. Just go down to the library and make sure you check it out to yourself. But anyways, and you can also read about this too if you're still kind of confused. So anyway, so there's the page number, page 135. That'll help you with the graph section. And so not only do you have the reading, you have the visual pictures of what pre-industrial looks like. And anyways, all of this. And so this is what it looks like, okay? And then you'll go to the next one. You'll do the same thing. You're going to read now about the second stage, okay? And you'll highlight the key things. I even added stuff that I thought was important on why, what also this transitional society goes through, and why their population is the way it is. And anyways, so there are some things that I thought were left out, so you can add notes here. Okay, make sure you color this. Same thing, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna write what you read about. Okay, write these carefully. Make sure you feel good about these. And then you'll go through again. You can see, and I'm writing from my notes of what I saw. A lot of you guys, if you're struggling with this, please let me know if you need help. But this one right here, if you look at your pyramids right here, this one is growing, okay, but has a low population growth. And that's because you have right here, the base of it is really, really big. But when you move up, if you remember, that's called the pre-reproductive years. So they're not reproducing yet. And then when you get to this part right here, these are the reproductive years. And you can see that it's not as big anymore up here as it was at the bottom. That means we had children that died off, because this, like, let's say all these children right here died off because they didn't move up because it's not the same length. So anyways, so these ones have a high infant mortality rate. So that's kind of sad. Where you can see right here, this one's a little bit more even as you move up, not all the way, but you don't have as high as the infant mortality rate here. Anyways, and so this population, not as many deaths, so this population is growing more. And again, you'll read about that. Plus it says down here that it's increasing, and you can see with the graph. So very important to feel comfortable with these. They really, really like these diagrams on the test. And if you have more questions, let me know. But make sure you go through each of it, you read it, okay? Study your age structure diagrams and so forth. Good luck, you guys. Thanks. Bye.